Okay, thank you. Thank you everybody for joining. My name is Richard Adams. I am the head of EMEA for RedSeal. Quick bit of background on RedSeal. We have, as an organization, been in operation for 14 years, and we specialize in network modeling and risk profiling. So effectively what we do is the real fundamentals of network security. It's like if you're building a house, we are the foundation, because what's happened over numerous years is networks have grown, people have moved companies, especially now with the current situation affecting the world. Networks have exploded, both on-prem, cloud, and obviously remote workers. So what RedSeal do is we show you your entire network and we give you that visibility and we show you the risks associated with that. So this presentation here is really about what happens when we go back to business. And in the UK, we've just started to do that this week. But what is it going to look like, and how can RedSeal help with those tasks and help customers with a more secure environment? So what does going back to business mean? Well, uncertainty, I think, is pretty much what we're all looking at across the globe. And we know in the UK especially, and other areas around the world, there will be job cuts, there will be budget cuts. But what we also know is that the fundamentals of actually providing network services, they won't change. And we also know that there is the skills and the knowledge shortage that is already around the world is still going to be there. So we've created, or what has been created, is an even harder situation. But really what it's also created is a situation where, as we've seen, and I'm sure this is again globally, cyber attacks are increasing because the attack surface and the number of ways that an attacker can get into an organization have increased. So what are the unknowns? Well, what is the new normal? I keep hearing that phrase in the press in the UK, the new normal. Well, the new normal is normal. That is what it is now. That's what we are looking at now. But none of us really know what that looks like. And how long will it take us to get back to a position where in organizations, business has returned to normal? And I think that's what people will be looking for, is that, when can business return to normal? But will it return to normal? And certainly over here in the UK, we've started to see budget cuts and project cuts. New projects have been cancelled, and all hands have kind of basically been assigned to keeping the business running. So there's operational issues there about that. And obviously then you look at, there are going to be staff cuts. There are, as you said, there's budget cuts that ultimately will lead to staff cuts. And nobody really knows what that sort of new business operates, how that business will operate. We've got companies here that are now looking at not returning to offices. How many more people can work remotely actually need to go to an office? Obviously, there's the social side to that. But in reality, businesses are surviving by working remotely and are finding ways around using the current technologies. So that again leads us to say, well, what is that network architecture actually going to look like in the future? And I think that will evolve and that will continue to evolve. But again, you need to have an understanding of the fundamentals of that. So it's an uncertain road ahead. We talked about the reductions, but one of the things that is really, really important, I think this is where RedSeal can help organizations, is the mundane tasks. As I said on the first slide, people still need to do those sensible things around their network. They still need to know what their network looks like. Where are the vulnerabilities? What are the risks? And so consequently, there's a wider attack surface and more vulnerabilities. So RedSeal again sits there and can automate a lot of these processes and give a more detailed picture of what that network looks like. So the attack surface is larger. There's more locations, and cyber attacks are increasing. We know that. So this slide here just talks about some of the things that were going on prior to the pandemic, and obviously these are still going on. And I haven't seen any predictions yet about what the future will look like. But what we see is a number of the breaches and vulnerabilities are always known. They're known to IT professionals. They're known to the industry, and yet they still seem to get through. And again, this is where I think RedSeal can help, because it's about, how do you know where somebody can get to? We can try and stop them getting in, but if they get in, where can they get to? And I think that again is a very key part of the future, is that the actual routes an assailant can travel will need to be more controlled and have more visibility, and it is really going to be a back to basics network infrastructure and the way that it's secured. And I think that's just the way the world has gone. Everything has grown so rapidly in the last 10 to 15 years, with the acquisitions and mergers and just generally business growing and the different technologies coming along, that it's been very hard for IT professionals to actually keep on top of basically the fundamentals. So how does RedSeal help you do that? How do we actually show our customers and help our customers? Well, so when you deploy RedSeal, we immediately do an inventory of the network. We tell you what's on your network, what it looks like, and then we can tell you, are you complying to best practice checks? Now, those can be, and in most cases, they're industry best practice checks or manufacturer best practice checks, but we also look at those can be customized. And so, if there's a company-wide standard that needs to be applied when deploying new switches and routers, then that can be that RedSeal can make that check to make sure that everything that sits on that network is compliant to the organization's security strategy. And then we look at how it's connected. So the connections, where can somebody get to on the network? What is it connected to? And I can guarantee that in every opportunity that RedSeal has worked on, we have found routes on a network which people didn't believe were possible, and they have been found and they have been rectified. Because again, it's a difficult task, and there's huge amounts of technology in the marketplace, and for IT managers, IT directors, network security guys, it's a really difficult task to keep up with the products and solutions on the market, but also just general day-to-day operations of the business. So the other thing we look at is the vulnerabilities. So it's like, what are the risks? What are the vulnerabilities? Now here, this is where we integrate, and we have open APIs, so we integrate to a lot of technology. But I'll just give you an example here. We integrate to the Tenables, the Rapid7s, the Qualities, the vulnerability scanners. And vulnerability scanners are great. They tell you where the vulnerabilities are, and they give them a score. And that score, in most cases, due to workload pressures, it gives the IT teams time to look at the CSV files of numbers, sort of 10 down to sort of 7, 6 if you're lucky. But what RedSeal does is we can put the network context around those vulnerability scanners that says, this number 6 that you would never get to in a million years actually is more vulnerable to the business because of the routes that people can get to and go from that device. So we can put the context around those scanners, and by doing that, we can also we provide a risk score. So we can show you that what a percentage change that would make, or what a number change that would make to your actual network by making these certain changes. And then and that enables you to present that to senior management to say, why you need budget for new products and solutions, and that you're in complete control of what the network looks like. So this is what I was talking about earlier. We look at we automate that network discovery. So we ingest all the information from your network, and then as you look at this picture here, you can see that we can then provide a network map of what that looks like. And if you can see the blue line on there, that is a typical route being shown of where somebody can get to. And if it's blue, then typically it's agreed, it's approved, and that's not a problem. By clicking onto that route, you can see every step it will take and the product and the routers and switches involved and where they are and their locations. You can also look at that as a, if that line is red, what that will do and how, based on the actual network rules, what that would look like and the dangers that would create. So that's the single view of the network. It's that old, I've been in this industry a long time, and I can remember walking into the network offices 20 years ago where there was a fairly large Visio diagram on the wall, and you pretty much knew exactly what that network looked like. But it didn't take long for bits of paper, A4, A3, whatever, being added to it as networks grew and changed. And I think now that's what I was mentioning earlier, is it's very difficult to keep control without some form of automation of your network itself. So we can also do this in the cloud. So we look at the cloud, we look at private cloud, virtualized cloud, and obviously now with home workers, and we can do that as well. And obviously what I mentioned earlier is, we can show you where there are password errors, where there are poor passwords, and where there are patching holes. And again, what I'm really saying is that this is your starting point to a more secure network posture. So it really is kind of securing the base. It's that foundations. You wouldn't build a house without a foundation. And unfortunately, just the way the world has gone and the way networks have evolved, it's become a case that we need to return to those fundamentals. As these cyber attackers have returned to fundamentals, and they get in on the easiest known exploits. So we need to actually secure from the fundamental point of view. So when we come to the connections, this is what we're looking at. We are showing you exactly where, what routes somebody can take once they're in a certain device and run your network. So that could be what you get from an internet, or it could be internal. And what we do is we can ensure network segmentation. So again, we can, once that network segmentation policy has been set, we can show you if you're in breach of that, and we can use that for PCI. We can use that for wireless, or we can use that for other areas within the business. So you can actually segment. So if an attack takes place, you can absolutely know where you're going to be hit or where you could be hit, and what you can do very rapidly to stop that happening without shutting down the entire business. And I think what we saw with WannaCry a few years ago was businesses having to shut down because they had no control as to where that could get to within the organization. Whereas we had customers who had deployed RedSeal, were able to just contain and know exactly what their issue was and carry on as business as best normal until resolved. So that's where we kind of come in also with PCI. Our PCI reporting tool can actually provide a 10-page document which is accepted by auditors around the world. So again, it's an element of automation, and it's an element of helping take those mundane tasks away. Those, again, as we move forward in the this world that we're all sort of living in at the moment, it's all going to be about we need to be far more proactive, but it's the mundane tasks that stop us being proactive. And again, that's where RedSeal comes in. We can actually take away a lot of those tasks. We can, we discover, we can investigate, and we can give you the tools to act quickly and in the right places without wasting valuable time. So we look at those vulnerabilities, we look at the defensive zones, etc., and we put those. We can show you those, and we can monitor those as well. What we do by when you're deploying RedSeal, you make yourself harder to hit because you're in more control, and I think that's the key moving forward as well. And if you look at the information that you gain from the RedSeal solution, you can actually justify and quantify what changes to technology you need to make, and what budgets, justify the budgets you need to do that, because you can show what changes will be made, because you're into complete control of the network, where those changes can be made, what products you would need to make those changes, and the increased security posture that will give you. So again, it's giving you that information to show you the vulnerabilities and to give you the evidence to show your senior managers that you're in complete control and what you need to do to move forward. So this is a quote from one of our customers, and this customer sums it up beautifully. I think it's the hardest things about security are non-sexy. Yep, they're hard work. They're mundane. They're the things that we do at RedSeal. The things you need to do, they're simply, but they are repetitious, they're mundane, tedious, and they wanted a product that would take all that data. So they could go and do the important things. They could go and do the proactive security, as opposed to always being reactive. So they were able to make their organization more secure because of that we were taking away and automating a lot of the tasks that were taking hours of their time. So really, in summary, what RedSeal offers you is we talk about resilience, we talk about being more resilient, harder to hit, and that's what we can deliver. Everything we do is evidential. There are reports, it's all visual. You can see, you can actually demonstrate exactly what you've done, and you know, we save I think one of the key things that RedSeal customers love is that it saves them time, so they can do as I've mentioned before, the proactive solutions. We're an enabler. It's automated, and from day one, and again, this is a key factor with RedSeal. From day one, we can see your network. We can show you, as I said earlier, the best practices, the inventory. So you start on what we call it, and I'm not a massive fan of the word in any of our companies that use this, but you end up going on a journey with us to a more resilient, secure network. And that starts from day one. It doesn't take 6 months to get in. The ROI on it is very, very quick. And we work with our partners to provide online demonstrations. We do proof of concepts. We have a full team across EMEA of system engineers to support customers and partners. We have full training, partner support portals. We have professional services. And what we've just introduced recently is the RedSeal starter packs. And the way that RedSeal is licensed, it's a very simple license methodology. It is literally, we charge based on the number of layer 3 and layer 2 devices. So what we've done with the starter packs is we've put together some offers which are start at 25 licenses up to 150 licenses, which include training and include professional services. So we look to make sure that both our partners and our customers are get the best value, the ultimate value that they can from the RedSeal solution. There are no hidden costs, and we're very proud of that fact that it's a very cost-effective solution, and we actually work very well with our partners. We are completely partner-driven. There is no direct business. We are a partner-driven partnership with customer and partner alike. So that really is all I had to say today. So I do really appreciate your time. If there's any questions, if anyone would like a follow-up technical demonstration, we can provide 1 hour online demos of the product, and then we'd be more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to take other questions at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for your interesting presentation. Now I check whether we have questions from the audience. I'm sorry, we don't have any questions.
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much.